I can't believe what's happening with our team right now. Commanders fans, while the whole league is waking up to explosive news, here in Washington, we've got 3 situations that will completely change our perception of the season. First, a veteran Hall of Famer who just arrived is sending clear messages about what's to come. Second, our defensive star from last year is dominating in a position that's going to drive us crazy with excitement. And third, a historic opportunity just appeared on the market that Adam Peters cannot ignore. If you think you know everything about this season, you're completely wrong. Stay until the end because this is going to blow your mind. Listen up. Von Miller, the same guy who terrorized quarterbacks for over a decade, just made something very clear in his statements. This 36-year-old future Hall of Famer came to Washington with one mission. They'll let me rush. That's what I do. Do you realize the brutal simplicity of that statement? Dan Quinn is not complicating things with Miller. They're not going to have him cover tight ends or do weird drops. This veteran is going to do exactly what he's done for 14 seasons, wreck offensive lines and get to the quarterback. Let me tell you this, when a player of this caliber says he can rush the quarterback just waking up with slippers on, that's not arrogance, that's pure confidence. Miller understands his role is perfectly defined, and that's exactly what we need in Washington. But let me tell you the full story. Von Miller came to Washington at a critical moment in his career. After tough seasons in Buffalo where injuries and system changes affected his production, many questioned if the veteran still had gas in the tank. But you know what? Miller knew exactly where he wanted to be, and Washington represented the perfect opportunity to prove he can still dominate. During his press conference, Miller revealed fascinating details about why he chose the Commanders. I love the dynamics of a football team, from the front office to the coaches, the conditioning staff, the athletic training staff, and analytics. Football is my life. I love everything about it. Did you hear that? This guy isn't here just for one last paycheck. Miller completely studied the organization before signing. He talked with current players, analyzed Quinn's defensive system, and was impressed by the culture Peters and Quinn have built. I can confirm that Miller has been working tirelessly in the offseason. His training sessions in Miami were documented by several outlets, and reports indicate he's in the best physical shape of the past 3 years. But you know what's most impressive? His mentality. Miller explained his leadership philosophy. I know the dynamics of a locker room. I lead with love, and then you can start demanding and shaping and talking to players and telling them what you see. Do you understand what that means? Miller is not just a pass rusher. He's a mentor. Here's what really excites me. Dan Quinn is using Miller smartly. Instead of having him learn an entirely new system, Quinn is adapting the scheme to maximize Miller's strengths. According to sources close to the team, Miller is mainly used in third down and obvious passing, where he can exploit his experience and technique. But do you know what the domino effect of this is? When Miller is on the field, he automatically draws double coverage. That means Montez Sweat has more one-on-one matchups. Javon Hargrave faces less pressure inside. It's an incredible multiplier effect. Miller also revealed that he has been studying film with Quinn from day one. Coach Quinn showed me exactly how I fit in his system. It's not complicated for me. I can do this in my sleep. Do you hear that confidence? That's a Hall of Famer who knows exactly what he can contribute. I think the most underestimated thing about Miller is his ability to elevate young players. During the minicamp, he was constantly seen working with rookies and second-year players, teaching them specific techniques for hand placement and timing. Can you imagine the value of that mentorship? But here's the part Nitrogen Monoxide 1 is talking about. Miller isn't just here to rush. His experience in 2 Super Bowls, his knowledge of how offenses attack in the playoffs, his ability to read quarterbacks in critical situations, that's invaluable. During the press conference, Miller mentioned something that gave me chills. I've been in every possible scenario in this sport. I've seen how great quarterbacks operate under pressure. I know How to change the momentum of a game with a single play. Do you think that's a coincidence? No. Miller is here for those crucial moments where experience makes the difference. I guarantee we'll see Miller in specific situations designed to maximize his impact. 4th and goal defensive. 2-minute drill. Red zone situations. Quinn will use Miller as a closer, and that's going to be spectacular to watch. If that surprises you, wait until you hear this. Mike Sainristil, our draft gem from last year, is dominating in training camp, but not where you think. Joe Witt Jr. and the staff have made a decision that will completely maximize this player's potential. Do you remember how last year we had to move Sainristil to the boundary because Benjamin S.D. Just, Michael Davis, and Emmanuel Forbes Jr. started to struggle? The kid took the challenge and shined. But I always knew that his natural place was in the nickel, where he dominated in Michigan. But let me explain why this is revolutionary. Sainristil was drafted specifically to play nickel corner, but last year's circumstances forced him to adapt. And you know what he did? He adapted perfectly. He played 847 snaps in the regular season, allowed only 52.8% completion percentage when targeted, and had 0 touchdown passes allowed in coverage stop. But here's the incredible thing. He did all that out of position. Imagine what he'll do now that he's back in his natural position. During his time at Michigan, Sainristil intercepted 6 passes in 2 seasons playing nickel. His slot coverage was so dominant that opposing offenses literally avoided attacking the middle of the field. I had the opportunity to talk with scouts who followed Sainristil in college, and they told me something that blew my mind. Mike has the highest football IQ we've seen in a nickel corner since Chris Harris Jr. He doesn't just react to what he sees, he anticipates what's going to happen. Here's what's really happening in training camp. With the additions of Trey Amos, 2nd-round pick, and Jonathan Jones, 2-time Super Bowl champion, Washington finally has the depth needed to move Sainristil back to the nickel. But do you know why this is great? Because Joe Witt Jr. has been waiting all this time to unleash Sainristil in his natural position. The reports from day 2 of camp are amazing. Sources present describes superb pass defenses from Sainristil. But what really excites me are the specific details. Sainristil is showing improved route anticipation, better breaks on underneath routes, and instant chemistry with the safeties. But do you know what the most noticeable difference is? His confidence. When Sainristil played boundary last year, he was solid but conservative. Now in the nickel, he's being aggressive. He's jumping routes, making plays on the ball, communicating pre-snap like a veteran. I can confirm that Witt has been specifically working with Sainristil on techniques that maximize his skill set. Bump and run coverage from the slot, pattern matching against bunch formations, and robber coverage in red zone situations. All of this is designed for Sainristil to be a playmaker. But here's the part that will drive you crazy. Sainristil isn't just playing nickel corner. Witt is using his versatility to create special packages. On certain downs, you'll see him dropping into safety coverage. In goal line situations, he can move up to play linebacker. Do you realize the flexibility that brings to the defense? During a recent interview, Witt revealed, Mike has the intelligence and athleticism to play multiple positions. We're going to maximize that during the season. Did you hear that? Sainristil is going to be a defensive Swiss Army knife. I think this is going to completely confuse the NFC East offenses. When you have a nickel corner who can do so many different things, opposing offensive coordinators have to prepare for multiple scenarios. That means less time to prepare their favorite plays. But let me tell you something nitrogen monoxide 1 else is reporting. Sainristil has been working tirelessly on his technique during the offseason. He spent time with former NFL corners perfecting his footwork, studied film of the best nickel corners in the league, and has been in constant communication with Witt developing the mental aspect of his game. But you know what's most impressive? His leadership. Even as a second-year player, Sainristil has been mentoring the rookies. helping with pre-snap adjustments, and constantly communicating with the safeties. That's maturity beyond his years. I am convinced that Sainristil is going to be one of the best nickel corners in the league this season. His combination of intelligence, athleticism, and work ethic is rare. Add to that the fact that he's finally in his natural position, and you have a recipe for success. Here's my bold prediction. Sainristil will have more than 4 interceptions this season. He'll be named to the Pro Bowl, and he's going to be one of the most important defensive players for our success. Why am I so sure? Because when a player with his talent is in the right position, with the right coaching, in the right system, magic happens. But here comes the real crazy. Christian Wilkins, one of the best defensive tackles in the league, was just released by the Raiders in a situation that has the entire NFL speechless. And Adam Peters has to be making calls right now. Did you know that Wilkins had an 80.2 run defense grade from Pro Football Focus last year? That put him third among all qualified interior defensive linemen. This guy's a beast against the run, and when needed, he can also generate pressure. But let me tell you the full story behind this madness. Christian Wilkins signed a 4-year contract for $110 million with the Raiders in March 2024, with $35.2 million guaranteed. Can you imagine? The Raiders made him one of the highest-paid defensive tackles in the league. Wilkins came from Miami with huge expectations and a reputation as one of the best interior linemen in football. During his first season in Las Vegas, Wilkins was exactly what he promised to be. His 80.2 run defense grade from PFF doesn't tell the whole story. Wilkins recorded 44 tackles, 3 sacks, and 8 quarterback hits while playing 65% of the defensive snaps. But do you know what's most impressive? His consistency. I reviewed every game Wilkins played last season, and this guy was dominant against the run week after week. Opposing teams literally avoided running to his side. His combination of size, 6'4", 310 pounds, strength, and technique made him nearly impossible to move in one-on-one situations. Here's where the story gets crazy. Wilkins developed a foot injury during the season that initially seemed minor. The Raiders' medical staff monitored the situation, and Wilkins played through the pain for several games. But after the season, the injury became more problematic. The Raiders wanted Wilkins to have another surgery to completely rectify the issue. But here's what's interesting. Wilkins sought multiple second opinions from recognized specialists, and most told him that surgery wasn't necessary. Wilkins decided to decline the surgery recommendation. But do you know what the Raiders did? They cut him immediately. They cited failure to maintain his physical condition to play as the reason, voiding the remaining $35.2 million guaranteed on his contract. Can you believe that craziness? I spoke with league sources, and they told me this situation is extremely rare. Normally, these disputes are resolved privately through negotiations. But the Raiders were aggressive with their decision, suggesting that there were more issues behind the scenes. But here's what really excites me. Wilkins didn't stay quiet. He immediately contacted the NFLPA to file a grievance against the Raiders. Do you think a player would do that if he wasn't completely sure of his position? I think not. Wilkins is confident that his medical condition doesn't require surgery and that he can play at full capacity. But do you know what's most important here? Wilkins is in his prime. At 29 years old, this guy has several years of elite performance ahead. His track record since entering the league in 2019 is impressive. 4 seasons with Miami where he was consistently one of the best interior linemen. And an excellent season in Vegas. I reviewed his advanced metrics, and Wilkins is elite in multiple areas. His run-stop percentage is in the top 5 of the league. His pressure rate as an interior pass rusher is above average. His missed tackle percentage is extremely low. Do you realize how rare it is to find a player with that combination of skills? Here's why Adam Peters must act now. Washington desperately needs help in the interior defensive line. While Jonathan Allen and Darren Payne are solid, we need more depth and versatility. But with Wilkins, we'd be talking about one of the best interior lines in the NFL. Can you imagine having Wilkins rotating with Allen and Payne? Opposing offenses wouldn't be able to establish a consistent running game, and in passing situations, Wilkins can rush from multiple positions, creating matchup problems for offensive coordinators. I think Peters is definitely doing due diligence on this situation. It costs nothing to bring Wilkins in for a medical evaluation. If the Washington doctors clear him, and if he's willing to sign for reasonable money, this will be the steal of the century. But here's what excites me most. Wilkins is not only a great player, but he's also a leader. During his time in Miami, he was a captain and was known for his work ethic and positive attitude. In Vegas, he quickly became a respected voice in the locker room. Can you imagine the impact he would have on our young defensive line? But do you know what's most intriguing? Wilkins' contract situation. Since he was released, he's not subject to trade compensation. Any team can sign him directly. But here's the kicker. Due to the grievance, his market value could be temporarily depressed. I think this is a perfect storm opportunity for Washington. Elite player available, price potentially reduced, immediate need on our roster, and a front office with the flexibility to make moves. Do you think Peters will let this opportunity pass? I hope not. Here's my final take on Wilkins. This situation is exactly the kind of calculated risk great G-Miz take. If Wilkins is healthy, we're talking about adding a Pro Bowl caliber player. In July, when was the last time that happened? Never. The Raiders' loss could be our gain. Wilkins is motivated to prove the Raiders made a mistake. He's in his prime. He's available immediately. And we have a coaching staff that knows how to maximize defensive talent. I guarantee that if Peters signs Wilkins, it instantly becomes one of the best all-season moves. This defense already has pieces to be special. With Wilkins, we could be historic. Commanders fans, quick recap. Miller, focused. Sainristil, dominating. Wilkins, available. These three pieces of news have me completely excited about what's coming. I guarantee that tomorrow we'll have more explosive news because this season is going to be different. Adam Peters is building something special. Dan Quinn has these players committed, and we as fans deserve to be updated on every move. Do you think Peters should go after Wilkins? Are you excited to see Miller and Sainristil in action? Do you think this defense can be top 10 in the league? Let me know in the comments. If you agree with me that Miller is going to be a game changer, give IT a like. If you think Sainristil can be a Defensive Rookie of the Year contender, subscribe. And if you want us to keep being the #1 source of Commanders news in Spanish, turn on notifications. This community is a family, and together we're going to live every moment of this historic season. Don't miss a thing, because this is just getting started. And remember, hail to the Redskins.